Again, companies realize that the 401k is not the best tool in or for retirement. It is one of the best tools for growth toward retirement. But that's why
Peter, very good to see you. Welcome back to everyone. Our countdown to retirement continues. Today we are talking about 8 moments to move your money. There are times when moving your money isn't just a good idea, it is necessary. Figuring out when can help you protect your investments, reduce your taxes, and stay aligned with your long-term goals. So let's start with rebalancing. Why should rebalancing our portfolio regularly be part of our plan?
Yeah. And just a preface on this conversation, not all of these are talking about full-scale relocation of assets or accounts. Some of this is just routine maintenance within the existing accounts that you have. Okay. So just a little disclaimer, when you talk about moving money and a financial advisor is giving that advice, people immediately kind of key into, oh, he's talking about relocating assets. Not all of these. And there's a time and a place for that. But number one, as you mentioned, is rebalancing. This happens within the existing account. And there are numerous reasons why you want to rebalance. And there are different types of rebalancing. There's strategic rebalancing, there's tactical rebalancing, but the premise is that over time, your allocation is going to shift. And it generally does not shift in the same direction that your risk tolerance shifts. So as a 25-year-old, I might be very, very risky. And over the course of my lifetime as an investor, getting closer to retirement, my risk tolerance decreases. Yet, if I kept the same allocation, the amount of risk I was taking would continue to increase as the equity and stock market grew. And so over time, you need to rebalance periodically. And it probably is not as important to do it as often for a younger investor. Maybe once a year, you go in and you rebalance the account back to your par, meaning I decided that I was comfortable taking 80% in my S&P growth fund or my more aggressive fund within my 401k, and 20% I was going to be in bonds or the fixed income, right? Well, the market went very well that year. And so now at the end of the year, I'm more like 90-10. That means I've got more risk than I originally said I was comfortable with. And it's a good time to rebalance to keep that risk stable. On the other side, if the market was down and now instead of 80-20, I am 70-30, that means I've got some more stable cash on the sidelines that is prepared to buy in when prices are lower. So strategic rebalancing, tactical rebalancing, timely rebalancing not only keeps us on track, but keeps our money working to help us to kind of automatically identify and capture opportunities when they are available. And again, our risk tolerance does shift over the course of our investment lifetime. So we need to rebalance to that target where we are today, not where we were 5 or 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And then next we have Roth conversions. When does it make sense to move money from a traditional IRA to a Roth?
When you are prepared to pay the IRS off and get them out of your cookie jar. We want to plan strategically for Roth conversions, meaning we want to look at your situation, look at your income, look at your expectation for retirement expenses, and try to pay the least amount in taxes possible on your retirement dollars. That being said, we want to execute on those opportunistically. There are certain times where it makes sense to do a larger chunk into that conversion, or moments where if we had said, hey, we're comfortable paying an extra, and I'm just going to pull a number out, $5,000 in taxes this year because we know that it's pay me now or pay me later. And if it's 5,000 this year, in 10 or 15 years into the future, it's going to be more like 15 or 20. So why not pay the 5 today? If we said that we were comfortable paying that figure, whatever it is, $5,000, if the market is down, you can actually convert over a larger percentage of your total yet to be tax deferred traditional retirement balance. So kind of a silver lining on a gray cloud here, and nobody likes to see market losses, but at least we can find opportunity amongst the pain and chaos of a market downturn. If we have planned this out strategically, we can execute on it opportunistically. But I do think that for most people, kind of a regimented approach to taking bites off of that tax deferred balance over a number of years does make sense, and something that we've worked with a lot of our clients and tax professionals to make sure that we are doing it the right way, to try to control and minimize that lifetime tax bill, which is number 2 on our reasons to move your money, is to try to get the IRS out of your retirement accounts.
A big milestone for retirement accounts is age 59 and a half. What's the significance of that age, and what is an in-service distribution?
So a lot of people know that age 59 and a half is the age when that 10% penalty for early withdrawal goes away, right? You're no longer withdrawing early, you're withdrawing when you are allowed to. However, what if we don't actually need to withdraw the funds? What if we just want to reposition them into a different type of account? We've had this 401k. It's been a good tool, as 401ks are, for contributions and growth and accumulation. But what we're seeing more and more is that the 401k is not generally the best tool for retirement preparedness, the preparation of preserving and protecting and then making distributions. So most companies now are allowing what is called that in-service distribution, which means at 59 and a half, that same milestone, you can actually take control of your dollars that are in their plan, right? The 401k is an employer-sponsored plan. That is the employer's plan. You are a participant. Well, at 59 and a half, you can actually take ownership and roll it over to your own individual IRA at that time. You can continue capturing the match. You can continue participating in the 401k. You basically get to restart the process and the dollar cost averaging and take control of the existing life savings that you have built up to that point. And you can roll it over to your IRA, and then you can maybe balance a little bit more appropriately. If you do still want to take some risks, maybe you do it with the 401k and are more aggressive with a smaller balance, and then are more in the preservation and protection mode with the existing life savings that you've got. Because if a market downturn does occur, like what we're sort of seeing right now, having that happen on an existing life savings, like decades of progress, makes a much bigger impact than on just a small amount in the 401k. So maybe we can position more opportunistically there after that in-service distribution. And again, companies realize that the 401k is not the best tool in or for retirement. It is one of the best tools for growth toward retirement, but that's why they allow you to take that in-service distribution. Is they are fiduciaries for your best interest. And back in previous downturns, they kind of quickly realized that, hey, keeping money captive in this 401k is actually not the thing that is in our employees' best interest.
So now let's talk about changing jobs. What should people do with their old 401k or retirement accounts when they leave a company?
Take ownership of it. And this is not every time. There are some exceptions. There are some things to watch out for. There are T's to cross. There are I's to dot. You want to do it the right way, but you generally do not want to leave your dollars in your old 401k, and you generally do not want to roll those dollars into a new company's 401k. You want to take ownership and roll them into an IRA. Again, your individual retirement account that you own, control, and can decide what is best to invest in, not just the limited number of set menu item choices on the 401k. And a lot of times, like, people forget about older 401ks. I've even seen a situation recently where one disappeared completely on somebody, and we don't want that to happen. So take your money with you, take control of it when you have the chance and the opportunity. And if you have left a job, that is one of those cues. Again, those last two we talked about, the age 59 and a half, or if you have separated from service, those are opportunities to take control of the money that you've worked hard to save, not spend, and invest.
Another sign it might be time to make a move: high fees. How can someone figure out if they are paying too much?
There are a number of different ways that you can tell this. I mean, you can give us a call and we can run an investment analysis for you. But like internally, some funds cost significantly more than others that might do the same thing, have the same investment profile. I've seen some internal fund fees higher than 1.25%, 1.5%.
Yeah.
And then there are comparable funds that have the same exposure, have very similar returns that are like 0.05%. And that doesn't make a huge difference maybe in 1 year, but over the course of 10, 15, 20 years, that can make a substantial difference. And that's not even talking about the institutional fees or the advisor fees, right? These things can be like layers of an onion and you've got to unpack it all. And a lot of times I ask somebody, well, what are you paying for your investments or the advice that you're receiving? And they may say, well, it's 1%. And they're not looking all the way to the bottom of the pool. There's not clarity in the total cost. So we run that analysis for our clients or not yet clients that want to find out more about their money so that they can clearly see what that advice and what those investments and what that institution is costing them. And then we can kind of make an evaluation. I heard an analogy one time that if a plane takes off from LA bound for New York, if they are off 1 degree in their flight path, like when they're flying over Nevada, they're not hugely off track. But by the time they get to the East Coast, they're landing in Washington, D.C. rather than New York. Mm-hmm. Like the difference that costs make over time can be substantial.
Mm-hmm. Performance matters too. At what point should someone consider moving their money if their investments are underperforming?
You've got to gauge this with some time, right? Is that in 1 month or 1 year, performance may not show exactly a fair gauge or measure. And you've also got to gauge this with your individual risk tolerance over that time. If you are a moderately conservative investor, you cannot expect to get aggressive kind of rates of return when the market's up, nor should you expect those same kind of aggressive rates of return if the market is down, right? It is relative, but over time, you should have an expectation and a little bit of a measuring stick using your risk tolerance as the metric there for what you should expect in good and bad times in the market. And over the course of 3 or 5 or 10 years, if you see that you are not keeping up or you are significantly underperforming the comparison of your risk tolerance to what the market has done, that is a time that you could back up and say, hey, we're not getting the performance that we want and or need or discussed. And therefore, it is maybe time to consider some alternatives.
Mm-hmm. Now, what if your time horizon changes? Say you're retiring sooner than expected. How should that affect our investment approach?
Yeah, we recently talked about this one in a video about layoffs and uncertainty in the job and unemployment market. You know, there is a large portion of the American public that did not retire on their own terms and their own ideal timeline, whether it be a healthcare event or a reduction in force, or hey, maybe just you suddenly realized, like COVID was a big one, right? The Great Resignation.
Right.
I'm not as happy at my job as I thought I was. It's time for me to do something for myself, right? There are a number of reasons why time horizons can change. And I've only mentioned a few here, but if that is the case, you need to back up and reassess the plan, because a lot of plans hopefully get put together under the pretense of your specific goals and your specific needs and your time horizon and necessity or expectations for returns. And if those suddenly do change, we need to back up and reassess and potentially reposition what was intended to be growth money for the next 5 or 10 years may need to become more of that immediate or midterm money, and therefore shouldn't take as much risk as it could have taken had it been 10 years or more money. And so like the fundamentals, the structure of the plan may materially change if your timeline changes significantly.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, let's talk about consolidation. What are the benefits of combining your accounts?
I want to just quickly go back and make a comment on that last one. That may also not be a forever change, right? If your timeline has changed or your situation has changed temporarily, you may back up a little bit in how things are positioned. And then once your situation solidifies again, go back to more of the status quo. Consolidating accounts is a big one. A lot of people have what I call the Waffle House plan. It's covered and scattered. Yeah, I've got that covered. It's somewhere over there. Oh, I've got that covered too. It's somewhere over there. And it's not real neat and tidy and consolidated.
How is that a Waffle House?
Well, I mean, the hash browns, they're scattered and covered. And so, I like the hash browns, extra crispy.
Gotcha.
But they're not the healthiest thing. And neither is the Waffle House plan. You've got to consolidate things for ease of housekeeping is one thing, right? It's just, I know where my stuff is at. And there are a lot of orphaned accounts out there, 401ks that people have forgotten about. And then we're oftentimes paying more in fees than we need to, and we don't have the diversification that we should. Sometimes people think that having 5 different investment accounts helps diversification, where oftentimes there's actually duplication across the accounts and they're not as diversified as they think. So consolidation for housekeeping, for peace of mind, for tracking, for fees, costs, and expenses, and for actual investment diversification can be very beneficial. Also, especially come time when RMDs or distributions are required from accounts, like there are different rules for different types of accounts, and that can really complicate things if we've got too many accounts out there. Bringing them together, consolidating them is a process that can just tidy things up and then help tremendously in the tracking to make sure that all your ducks in a row and things are squared away.
Mm-hmm. This was, valuable, including learning more about the Waffle House hash browns.
Yeah, they're delicious. Also, they're not that good for you, which is again apropos for the Waffle House plan.
Right. Well, I mean, that's how most delicious things are. But Also, I want to remind everybody watching that we are doing this countdown to retirement as part of a video series, but it's also a downloadable kit. Peter, walk us through that, please.
Yeah, so this is a 10-part series, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, the countdown to retirement, trying to check off on different topics and subjects that you need to be sure you address. So if you would like the complete guide, or even just this one part of the guide, the 8 moments to move your money, go to RichonPlanning.com. It looks like Rich on Planning, but it's my last name, RichonPlanning.com. You go to the resources tab, and then you click on the downloads, and the complete countdown to retirement guide with all 10 and a synopsis of why each one is important is there. It is downloadable. It's electronic, so you can get it right then as a PDF and flip through it. We also have a printed version. If you'd rather have that, you're welcome to give us a call at 919-300-5886, 919-300-5886. But yeah, Richon Planning, resources, downloads. There's a number of things there that people have told us they find helpful.
Mm-hmm. Stand by for the other 7 through 1. Peter, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Erin. Hey folks, Peter Richon here with Richon Planning. So glad that you are enjoying the podcast, Planning Matters Radio. One of the tools that we've put out there that people really seem to appreciate and really are finding of value is at 919retired.com. It is your retirement tax bill calculator. If you've got any kind of retirement account, your tax deferred, 401k or IRA, this is the website, this is the resource where you can go, you can plug in your own numbers, your information, you can slide the tool calculator up and down for your tax rate or your amount of savings and see what your tax bill is likely to be if you default and defer to the IRS's plan versus what you could potentially bring that tax bill down to. A lot of times it is a very significant savings. So if you have not yet, go to the website 919retired.com, run your numbers on the retirement tax bill calculator.
This has been Planning Matters Radio. The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor. Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Brookzone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services. Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.